Alright, look, I'm currently in Australia right now, but while I'm here, I still want to create some content. So I want to talk a little bit about the Canon R5 C. This has been my main camera for the last 2.5 years, and even with it being that amount of time, I still think it's a great purchase today. I mean, I kind of feel like we plateaued in a sense when it comes to cameras. Everything coming out now is good, and really it's just a mixture of personal preference along with what you plan to do with the camera, which would determine whether you buy one camera or the other. This shot, along with all the footage you'll see in this video, has been shot on the R5 C while I've been out here in Australia. And the first thing I want to say is that this is a full frame camera. I honestly just prefer the wider field of view. I've used crop sensor cameras and you can still get great footage with those, but there are those times where you're filming in a restricted space and wish you can just get a little more in the frame, and that's where a full frame camera would come in clutch. One feature that I'm always using is the dual base ISO, with the bases being 800 and 3200. And honestly, this has been a lifesaver in some cases. Basically what this means is, in lower light situations, I can set the ISO to 3200 and not have a grainy image. It just allows for flexibility, and I can keep that clean look if that's what I'm going for. The R5C has about 14 stops of dynamic range, and it could be even more if you shoot RAW, I believe. I don't typically shoot RAW on this camera, but that's always nice to have. In my experience, when I'm filming in daylight, it's been fairly easy to expose it and not have the sky blown out. In cameras with a lower dynamic range, you might be trying to expose a subject, and the sky ends up being white with no detail. The R5C is a hybrid camera. It can switch between video and photo mode in a matter of seconds. It has 45 megapixels, which is plenty to capture sharp, detailed images. There's been plenty times where I've been out on a gig doing both video and photo, and this camera has saved me from having to bring two separate bodies. I can just bring the R5C and be good on both fronts. The caveat to that though is this camera eats up batteries. That's why most times I'll have it rigged up with the cage and V-mount battery. But when it's rigged up like that, it makes it a lot harder for it to be as hybrid as it could be. So times where I know I'll be doing both photo and video, I'll make sure to bring a charger with me to charge the batteries that's not in use. The fact that this is hybrid and really comes in such a small form factor makes this a great option for YouTubers and content creators. It may not have as snappy autofocus as something like the R5, but it's been reliable enough for me, especially when I'm filming solo style videos. One of the biggest issues with the original R5 was overheating, and the R5C solves this by adding a fan to it. And I've actually never had any issues with overheating on this camera, no matter how much I film and what temperature it is outside. And I live in Vegas, so you already know it gets hot. So I know this isn't the cheapest camera out there, and you actually have to drop a decent amount in order to get one. But when you think about it being over 4,000 US dollars when it first dropped, to now being able to get a used one for less than 3,000, it's definitely something to think about. But at the end of the day, just get something that works for you and create. That's gonna be it for me. If you enjoyed, go ahead, drop this a like, jump down in the comments, let me know what you think, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It only takes a second, and I will see y'all real soon in my next one. Peace.